Good morning, good evening, everyone. Welcome to our Group 12 meeting for our Week 12 meeting for Group 4. Our project, developing a secure medical record system using Hyperledger Fabric with enhanced privacy protection and access control, has been progressing steadily. As a product manager this week, I will be guiding today's discussion to ensure we address our key objectives, review the progress from last week, and plan for the next steps efficiently. So let's start by reviewing updates from each group member. So first person, Jie Zhang, please.
Oh, could you please scroll to the very bottom of the bottom to the bottom? Yes, okay. For the last week, I was mainly focused on fix bug, and till now everything works perfectly. We almost finished all the features. Like I integrate IPS database to store medical file, and I test the medical record controller. Every API works fine. So for the next week, I will fix the bug when I was collaborate with front-end developers. I found some bugs, so for the next couple of days, I will fix the bug and then focus on the report and the presentation. So it's almost there.
Okay, thank you. Next person, Ricky, please.
Thank you. You can hear me? Okay, good. So for this week, I'm still focusing on fixing bugs in the user control section of the backend. Our team has been working on identifying the issues and testing the modification to ensure stability and functionality. At the same time, based on the professor's feedback, I'm currently reviewing the his guidelines for the final paper and presentation. As for the paper, I found that for the related work section in our midterm report, I have to point that based on his guideline, we should carefully check in our references to make sure that they are from the past 3 years to meet the academic standards. And for the experiments and results, we should also refine our approach to include the quantitative evaluation in this week. Since our project is relatively small and prioritizes blockchain security, I have streamlined the testing plan to focus on core areas while simplifying or skipping less critical aspects. Our tests could evaluate in 4 different dimensions: system response time, data security, fault recovery, and data consistency and throughput, with a heavier emphasis on security-related metrics. I will give a brief introduction, but we can leave the discussion to another meeting. But for the system response time, we could measure how quickly the application handles transactions and API requests under typical workloads. While high throughput scenarios are not a priority for our project, we could conduct basis like the basic API delay testing using tools like Postman to ensure that responses occur within an acceptable range, which happens according to what I test today, such as under 1 second for typical requests. Additionally, we could use the Hyperledger Capillary to measure transaction processing time, focusing on delays from submission to confirmation. So this test will give us a baseline for understanding system responsiveness, but won't cover complex scenarios like heavy concurrent workloads because considering we have really urgent deadline. And for the data security, this is the most critical aspect of our project. We can thoroughly test the encryption and decryption performance of blockchain stored data to ensure that sensitive information remains secure. We could also evaluate the access control mechanism by simulating both legitimate and unauthorized user behaviors. And this worked fine from the testing from backend. And for the fault recovery, while we won't simulate complex network partition scenarios due to the scope of our project, so I suggest that we could test basic fault tolerance. Specifically, we could simulate node failure to ensure the system maintains data integrity and continuous functioning during the single node outage. After restoring the failed node, we could verify that data synchronizes correctly across all nodes. Lastly, for the data consistency and throughput, we could conduct a lightweight consistent test to verify that larger data remains synchronized across all nodes in a small-scale network. Using the Hyperledger Explorer, we can confirm that all nodes reflect identical transaction records after submissions. For the throughput, instead of extensive load testing, we could use Hyperledger Calculator to measure basic transaction per second rates under small-scale workloads, such as 10 to 50 transactions per second. Therefore, I suggest we could schedule another meeting after this one in this week to discuss the task assignments for preparing the final report and how we could conduct the performance analysis. So that's for my part. Thank you.
Thank you. Next person, Hongchang, please.
Okay. Last week, after receiving valuable feedback from my team, I focused on implementing several important updates to improve the code. Specifically, I replaced the array list with a set to automatically remove duplicates, ensuring data consistency. Additionally, I added IPFS field to the medical record class, which will store the address of a medical record, enhancing the record keeping functionality. I also renamed the doctor field to doctor ID to provide a clearer, more explicit reference to the doctor's identity. After making these changes, I submitted the third version of chain code to GitHub for final review. This week, after receiving feedback from the final review, I plan to finalize the chain code and collaborate with my team to test the entire project as a whole. Since the deadline is approaching, I will also begin preparing for the final presentation and paper, ensuring all the documentation is clear, comprehensive, and well organized. Next week, my focus will shift to working with my team to finalize the project, conduct final testing, and refine the presentation and paper. I aim to deliver a polished and thoroughly tested project ready for submission. This phase will be critical to ensure everything aligns with the project's objectives and meets academic standards. That's my plan. Thank you.
Thank you. My turn. All the front-end interface development was completed last week. For this week, I worked on the integration and testing the APIs related to medical reports from the front-end perspectives. My focus was ensuring a smooth interaction between the front-end interface and the back-end functionalities. Here are some main progress. The first one is the medical report management. We integrated the APIs for creating, deleting, and sharing medical reports into the front end. And another one is the report overview. We worked on the front end implementation of the delete and share functionalities for the report overview page. Another one is the report editing. We added the API interaction for the report editing features and tested the input forms and ensure the update data is correctly reflected in the user interface. Another one is the file upload and download functionalities. Ensuring the file validations and API connections were handled correctly, and also set up the download features to make sure the files are retrieved securely and provided a good user interface. Another one is the medical record list enhancements. We integrated the updated API to display the data of diagnosis in the medical record list, ensuring the new data was formatted and presented clearly. And for the for the plan next week, on Monday, our team will conduct the group testing to ensure all the integrated features worked correctly in different scenarios. If no issues are found during the testing phase, I will upload the final version of the code to our GitHub. Thank you. Next person, Haichuan, please.
Hello, last week we developed the patient and doctor detail page of the MediTracker website successfully. This week we focus on collaborate with our team to test and integrate the APIs for the login, logout, and registration functions. Here's what in progress. First, we work on testing the doctor sign up and sign in APIs. This involves debugging issues related to data validation and ensuring token-based authentication worked seamlessly. Second, we test and adjust the patient sign up and sign in APIs to make sure the front end captures and process response correctly, including handling errors like invalid inputs and all authentication failures. Third, we test the logout API, ensuring it clears sessions property and provides appropriate feedback to users on the front end. Last, the Swagger documentation added by our team was particularly helpful for testing. We referenced it extensively while setting up API requests during the integration process. Next, we plan to conduct further user testing to ensure a smooth and intuitive experience across these features. Thank you.
Okay, thank you everyone for your updates and contributions. Is there any other questions?
No.
No,
Okay,
thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.